Live. This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour,
supported by Albertsons
and brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. Buffalo Wild Wings. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now your hosts, Christy Scales and Brad Sham.
Welcome to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We are so glad you've joined us this evening. I am Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. Alongside this evening, Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com. He's stepping in for Brad Sham. Brad stayed back in Phoenix overnight last night for religious observance. Now he's heading back to Dallas. So, Kyle, thank you for hosting tonight.
Of course.
And unfortunately, we're not celebrating Victory Monday as we have the previous couple weeks. But I was interested in one thing that Dan Quinn, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, said today, actually just about an hour ago, that what really stuck with him last night after the loss to the Cardinals 28-16, he said that the reaction was, you guys didn't look like your defense.
Yeah, you know, a guy like Dan Quinn and what he's done from a defensive coordinator standpoint since he got here to Dallas, that one hurt a little bit. Probably hearing that about his defense and the way that they played through the first 2 weeks of the regular season, it really seemed like they were on a historic pace. And Micah Parsons, a big part of that. Osa Odighizuwa, who's going to join us momentarily, a massive part of that as well. And so the fact that Week 3, it didn't go in favor, 28-16, the final score from Arizona. And it didn't look like that defense, but that's just 1 week out of the entire calendar. 17 games. There's a long way to go. This defense is going to get right back into the rhythm. They're going to continue to show why they were off to a historic start. I could feel Dan Quinn's nervous energy, though, when he was talking about it, though. He said, man, that's just not who we are. And they know that, and they're going to try and fix that this week.
And that's why I'm so glad Osa is joining us tonight, because the other thing that Dan pointed out, he said, we'll grow from this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's what Dan Quinn has done. You take a look at every year that this defense has been underneath his tutelage. And having taken over in 2021, Mike McCarthy had already been established for a season. Mike Nolan was the defensive coordinator in 2020. Then Dan Quinn gets here, automatically team leads the league in turnovers. Yes, they gave up big plays. Yes, there was some yardage there, but they got better. It was certainly better than what they had in 2020. Then 2022, we got another year, another offseason, able to grow. You add Micah Parsons into the mix. And, of course, we've seen what Micah Parsons has been doing this season, 4 sacks already, 13 in each of his first 2 NFL seasons. So then they get better, and they lead the league in turnovers again, lead the league in takeaways again. And now you've got a chance to up that even more. And I think that's what's got to be exciting about this Cowboys defense. They may not have shown it in Week 3. There might have been some lapses there, but for the most part, they're going to rebound. And I think this is the best defensive unit in the NFL. And Osa Odighizuwa is a big part of the biggest and best defense in the NFL.
And that's why I'm so glad that Osa is joining us live tonight at Cane Rosso. We're here at the Star in Frisco. Cane Rosso, one of the great restaurants here in the Star District. And for the fans to have a chance not only to learn more about Osa and have him talk more about the defense, but it's just the fact that defensive tackles especially are the unsung heroes, I think, of any defense. And I'm glad that everyone's getting to meet you and talk to you, learn more about you personally, and have you talk about this defense. And we're just wondering, because there's that 24-hour rule in the NFL, whether you're the victor or whether you lost the game, you're supposed to put it behind you in 24 hours. But does that ever really happen, especially after a loss? Does it sometimes stick a little bit longer?
I mean, you don't really have time for it to. Like, the 24-hour rule is necessary. I feel like you got to let it go, whether you won or you lost, because if you take too much time and energy lingering on what happened, then you're taking away from the time that you have to prepare for what's right in front of us, which is a game against the Patriots this weekend.
You talked about how there's not a whole lot of time, but you have to at least go back and watch what happened. What did you feel like was not necessarily a part of your game plan in that Week 3 loss and what you guys showed on the field last night?
I mean, when we go back to look at the tape, it's just things that we could have executed better, and just going back to just communicating and executing at the highest level, which we know we're capable of.
No doubt. And you've seen that through the first 2 weeks of the season. How quickly are you going to throw this one behind you? Because you got to look at the tape. Have you already done that? And when do you turn the page? Has that already happened too?
Kind of, yeah. Like, I watched the game a couple of times already. Just, looking at things that I can do to improve. I feel like that's where it starts. Just, just working on the things that I could work on. We watch it as a D-line. You write down the corrections that you need to make, and then you just got to do that as we get to practice and we get more reps at it.
What was the message from Coach Quinn today and your position group coach, Adam Dirty? And sometimes are the coaches, I don't want to say easier, but, after a loss, you guys know, that you need to improve? Or is it sometimes like a lighter touch, and maybe it's after wins and things are going really well that they're trying to, keep you guys from eating the cheese?
Want to keep us from eating the cheese.
Yeah, just getting too big.
Every
too
week.
big, yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether we're winning or losing, you don't want to take the cheese. You just got to stay neutral, just stay where we're at, stay even keeled.
Mm-hmm. So what was one thing that Coach Quinn told the media today is that we'll grow from this. So what gives you confidence that everyone's going to back him up on that?
Just the mentality of the group. I feel like obviously we lost, but no one's given up hope or anything like that. It's week 4 now. It was week 3. It's still super early in the season. I look at it, such a long season. There's so much room to improve within the season. So, everyone's going into it with an open mind. And like I said, we're just going to look at what we need to correct and make those corrections.
What's the first thing that came to your mind when you went back and watched it, and one of those corrections that you're going to try and instill this week against New England?
No, like I said, just executing.
Just a couple different things along the way?
Just making sure we're executing, getting the calls, and just executing on them,
What was halftime like yesterday? I think that some people think there's all these like fiery speeches and stuff, and there's really not time and things like that. But you guys, after surrendering some yards in the first half, that first series in the third quarter, man, you guys really came out with a lot of fire, it seemed.
I feel like the mentality was like we just look at some of the things that we did, and even within a game, you gotta let things go. You can't linger on the first half when you have a whole second half to play and a whole second half in front of you. You don't have much time to do that in football in general, whether it be from play to play or from half to half. You gotta look at what's right in front of you.
How did Joshua Dobbs and James Conner specifically challenge you and that offensive front from Arizona, just the way that they were able to run the ball, the read option, the zone read concepts? How did that challenge you guys up front?
Say that one more time?
How did Dobbs and Conner have success against you guys yesterday?
Dobbs, I mean, is a fast dude. Not to say that we don't play like mobile quarterbacks every week. And it's not to disrespect the team. They're a great team, you know what I mean, and great quarterback, great running back. But at the end of the day, I feel like when we're firing on all cylinders and we're doing what we need to do, then we're a pretty hard team to mess with.
No doubt about that.
Again, just getting back to executing and just making sure we're firing on all cylinders.
So let's put week 3 behind us a little bit, okay? Let's take a look at the good things that have happened this season. You already have 3 sacks. You were one of the highest pressure rates in the NFL going into week 3, continuing to up your game. Has there been a difference in mentality for you going into year 3 as opposed to what you did your first 2 years in the NFL?
Just wanting to put it all together. I feel like the first 2 years there was a lot of flashes and things like that you would see on tape, but just wanting to put it all together and just make it more consistent, just taking more advantage of opportunities that I'm seeing and I'm getting while I'm in the games to be able to make more plays and be more productive.
Kyle mentions the 3 sacks, and defensive tackles generally fewer sacks. It's the ends and the, guys rushing off the edge that seem to, pile up the bigger stats. So I don't know that always sacks and tackles are the way to judge defensive tackles because you guys have to do the dirty work, right? So how do you, when a game is over in general, how do you judge for you specifically whether you've had a good game or not? Because it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet.
Definitely whether or not I'm doing my job, just carrying out, executing all my assignments. I want to make plays. I don't think that's a good way for any D tackle to look at it. Obviously, you're not supposed to make a ton of plays, but I'm trying to make plays. You know what I mean? That's any football player that's out there. You want to make plays. You're not chasing them. You want to do them within the system and within your job. But at the end of the day, that's what we get paid to do is make plays.
Christy, it's funny whenever you asked the question, you said defensive tackles are on the middle, they're doing the dirty work. I just looked at your face, and Osa just leans forward with a nice little head nod. I mean, you like getting in there, you like the physicality of it. Does that come from the wrestling background that you had back in high school and some of the physicality that you had from the very beginning?
Definitely. I feel like wrestling helped me out more mentally than anything else. It's a physical sport. It's hard. It's one of the most difficult sports out there. It's just you and another man in there in the circle just, going at it. So I feel like just taking that mentality and applying it to football.
Yes, see, that's interesting. The individual sports and then what you guys do, and especially your position within the defensive unit. I mean, football, it's trite to say, but it is the ultimate team game, right? I mean, just one little breakdown, but also, as you say, you defeat the guy in front of you, and you could be the one to break the play. So which do you prefer, the individual sport, or you like it where it's the team unit and team concept?
I definitely love the team aspect of it and the brotherhood of football. I think football is just more fun, just being out there with the guys. And you can still have that individual aspect, like you said. You got to beat the man in front of you, and that's everyone on the field. We all got to win our one-on-one. So there's still that individual aspect, but then you can have a lot of fun and get energy from other guys on the field as well.
So this takes me back to a conversation that Mozzie Smith actually had in training camp. He said, I don't even really like football that much. I just like hitting people. You're the opposite of that. You actually do like football, but you also like hitting people at the same time,
I was going to say, I'm not the opposite. I just enjoy the physical aspect of football, hitting people and just being out there trying to impose your will on other grown men is something that I feel like everybody who's out there enjoys, just maybe not as much as Mozzie, but I think that's one of the main things. That's one of the reasons why we all get into it, is just it's a physical sport, whether it be an outlet for you or something like that. But it's just the physicality of it is part of the game. That's something that you got to enjoy if you're out there.
Yeah, the physicality. Did you have a specific welcome to the NFL moment? Because you come in as a rookie, a third-round pick out of UCLA, where obviously you had great success, and come in as a third-round pick, but you're starting as a rookie, in the middle of the defensive line. And was there whoa, it's really different? Was there a one moment in particular that was sort of a welcome to the NFL? Or maybe it came during camp, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't look at it like that. I was just trying to not blink when I got the opportunity. You know what I mean? Just treat it like I've been here before, and treat it like football, like I've been playing since I was 12, and not make it more than what it was or get caught up in anything other than what it the game,
Yeah, well, the reason why I ask is Hall of Fame offensive tackle Rayfield Wright, and of course he's in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. He gets out there as a rookie, and he's going up against the Rams, and he's nose to nose with Deacon Jones, right, the Hall of Fame pass rusher, on Rayfield's very first play. And just before the snap, Deacon says to Rayfield, does your mama know where you are right now? And just as the ball is snapped, Rayfield gets a head slap right upside the helmet. It was legal back then. So, I think Randy White, another Cowboy Hall of Famer and Ring of Honor member, is the reason why there are no more head slaps in the NFL.
I'm pretty sure you can't go into the talking that's at the line of scrimmage, not on the radio. We're FCC regulated here. Right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
we're going to keep that one on the opposite
we
side
don't want
of
to
things.
lose our license. Hey, we're going to hear more from Osa about his journey to the NFL. This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We are at Cane Rosso at the Star District in Frisco. We'll be back right after this.
Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys!
When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Alongside Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com, who's stepping in tonight for Brad Sham. I'm Christy Scales from Cowboys Radio, and our guest at Cane Rosso at the Star in Frisco this evening is Cowboys defensive tackle number 97, Osa Odighizuwa.
And it's been so much fun already. Great crowd on hand, so much energy, and there's a lot of excitement despite the result last night about this Cowboys defense. So I want to ask you, what's the biggest difference in 2023 through the first 3 weeks of the season than the first 2 years whenever you were on this defense in Dan Quinn's unit? How has this unit continued to grow in the right direction?
Sorry.
You're choked up about it. I get it.
Nah, just some water that I just took a sip of. But I feel like there's just a much higher level of confidence that we have just in our ability and what we know. You know what I mean? Having another year under DQ's defense, and things are just starting to hit a little bit better. And I feel like generally speaking, just besides last night, everyone's firing on all cylinders, and things are just starting to click for us. You know what I mean? And when I talk about the confidence, just knowing what we can be and just being that.
Whenever you look at the guys around you, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and of course the talented group of defensive tackles that you work side by side with, who have you learned from the most through your first 3 years and really taken a lot of that knowledge and applied it to your game?
I feel like I get knowledge just from a lot of different places. I watch Law play, I watch Micah play, and there's some that I could take away and even just talking to him too, just about my hands, things that I could do technique-wise, and just ways to improve my pass rush, you know.
And you have a new assistant defensive line coach this year, Sharif Floyd, who works with Coach Dirty. And, of course, Sharif was a great college player at Florida and first-round pick of the Vikings. And how has it been working with Sharif, and is he passing along some of the, I won't say tricks of the trade, but some of the skills and drills that he used to do to help you at your position now?
Definitely he's helped me improve, like, my run game and just how I see blocks, just knowing blocking schemes and just being able to play them.
Which side do you like most about the game? Do you like the pass rush side? Do you like the run stuffing side? Which one do you feel like you get more joy out of when you're successful at it?
I mean, it's all a part of the game, but just as a D lineman, everyone loves to rush the passer. That's the most fun part about being a D lineman, because, like, obviously it's fun. It's a part of the game. You have fun when you're making tackles, when you get tackles for loss and just no gain, you know what I mean? And like I said, just imposing your will on, like, another grown man, that's a part of the game. But being a pass rusher, I feel like that's when you get to just be the most athletic, you know what I mean, and put your athleticism on display as a D lineman.
Yeah, it's particularly fun after the sacks on the sideline. And
Oh, yeah.
Kyle and I, in our work with DallasCowboys.com, among the most feedback we get is something that Alex Lilly does with DallasCowboys.com, and it sounds from the sideline. And so he does a great job of putting it together. And, of course, a lot of the words have to be bleeped, and so they have to be creative with that.
They're very creative with
Those captions are hilarious.
And they are. And so
Subtitles.
for those that haven't seen it on DallasCowboys.com, please check it out every week. And we mentioned Coach Dirty, and he is from England. And so his
font
English
change.
accent is very pronounced. And so the words, the captions are in a font.
Yeah, it's like italics.
Yeah, it's italics. But anyway, you guys, I know on the defensive line that you're aware when, or do you sometimes forget that the cameras are on you and that little fuzzy mic is hanging over you guys, and that maybe you're going to be on Sounds of the Sideline each week?
I definitely try and be aware of it. It can catch you off guard sometimes. Like, if you're talking to somebody and they just creep in with it, just, like, right there, and you're like, oh, crap. Like, you didn't even realize that you were being recorded for, like, the past 2 or 3 minutes, and you're like, dang, I don't know what I said. Hope they bleep it out.
But you guys
Hope they
actually,
cut it.
but you guys watch it. I mean, you're aware of it and have fun with it
Yeah.
and stuff. See, that is so cool.
I love it. Yeah, because there's times whenever Osa, and you're a featured part of Sounds of the Sideline. I mean, you're on there almost every week, and you're looking back and you're saying, oh, where's that mic coming from? Every time it catches me off guard. But it is fun to see the celebration aspect of it. You talked about the pass rush and finishing off quarterbacks, getting those sacks. That's always a ton of fun. I've heard of secondary players having an interception list. I've heard of defensive players, especially edge rushers, have a sack list of quarterbacks that they've sacked throughout their career. Do you keep track of that, and do you have maybe a favorite moment, a favorite sack of a quarterback you've faced in your career?
I don't. I can't lie. I would say the total is more important to me than, like, the who. You know, obviously you want to get hands on, like, Tom Brady before he was gone, just like the last 2 years, or like Aaron Rodgers or something like that. But I mean, that's not something that I pay too much attention to. It doesn't really matter who it is. I just want to get there. You know what I mean?
Do you know how many sacks you have in your career off the top of your head?
I think
1, 2, 3. It's good radio.
3 this
I
year.
want to say 11.
9. You got 9 sacks.
Well, it'll be 11.
It'll be 11
next
week.
Monday.
Yeah.
After the Patriots come to town this weekend. But I'm interested in, and I know you're not going to give away a bunch of locker room secrets or things that happen in the defensive, the team meeting room and stuff. But do y'all kind of keep your own lists and funny things, and just in terms of who has the most, whether it's stats or TFLs, tackles for loss? What are some of the things that is a friendly competition within the defense?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, do y'all have lists? You keep your own lists among the defensive players and kind of have some fun, like rivalry, within the brotherhood kind of thing that you guys keep track of? Because there's one for special teams, right? And Dun Bones have one where he's keeping lists and stuff, and there's points, the big board and things like that.
I mean, we definitely keep track of it. It's part of making it fun is just to have that competition every week and just see who can get the most. But I wouldn't say that's something that like I keep track of, just like tabs on everyone else. Obviously, like we can kind of just total up if we look at the past couple of games. Like, okay, we have so many. Like, this guy has so many, I have like 3, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I wouldn't say I make too big of a deal out of it, but it's definitely fun to just have that competition aspect.
That takes me back to week 1 whenever the defense had 7 sacks. You had 2 of those, and it felt like everyone was looking around at each other and saying, no, I want that one. It was like you were fighting over the sacks just because of how good you guys were playing from a defensive unit standpoint. I mean, what is that feeling like when everything is going your way, you're starting to snowball in the right direction, and you're trying to play off of the energy of the guys around you?
It's a lot of fun. Everyone's eager to get out there, especially when it's become the type of game that we want it to be, and like they're primarily having to throw the ball. That's where all the opportunities are at when it comes to getting sacks and being able to rush the passer. So everyone is hungry to be out in the field.
Do you feel this is the best depth that you've had in the 3 years that you've been here in terms of the rotation on the defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, for as long as I've been here, we've been a pretty deep room, and I like our depth a lot this year.
Has there been you talked about how when the game switches over to what you want it to be, is there usually is there a moment in time whenever a game happens and you're saying, oh, Daniel Jones is going to have to throw the football a little bit more, now it's time for us to really get after it?
I mean, if you just in terms of like football in general, anytime that like someone's down by like a lot, they're gonna have to throw the ball more to be able to get back up. 1, it saves more time, and 2, like you just have like a higher ability to move the ball when you're doing it in the air.
Yeah. Was there a moment in that Giants game where it switched over and you said, okay, it's time for us to get back to work? So it certainly seemed like there was.
I feel like it happened pretty early because we were able to get up by multiple scores like earlier in the game. So that's typically when that's typically when it starts to turn and take that turn in that direction that we want it to go. Is like, okay, we're up by a lot. They're gonna have to throw the ball more.
And speaking of throwing the ball more, one thing that Dan Quinn was talking about this afternoon is how well he thought Deron Bland played. And, of course, Trayvon Diggs suffering the injury last Thursday, and Deron moving from the slot in the nickel to playing outside. And he talked about Deron's physicality and what a willing tackler he is, how good he is at that. But in terms of Trayvon's injury, I know that you're sad for him as a friend and a teammate, but has it maybe galvanized isn't the right word, but what was the reaction in terms of everybody knowing that they may have to step up?
That's the nature of the game. You know what I mean? You never know when it could happen. Comes to like a guy like Trey, working so hard, doing everything right. It's like you hate to see it, but that is the nature of the game. So that's part of the adversity that we're just gonna have to overcome as a team, knowing that we gotta have like a next man up mentality and like. Never know when your number is going to be called, but when that number is called, you got to be ready.
Yeah, when we come back here on Cowboys Hour presented by Miller Lite, I want to ask you about not only the injuries in the defense, but on the offensive line, some of those guys and how much of an impact they've played against you in practice as well. Plus, I want to hear about off the field. I want to hear some of the fashion. You're big into fashion. I want to hear about some of that. Who has the best fashion on this Dallas Cowboys team. Alongside Christy Scales and Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll be back with more of the Cowboys Hour right after this.
Go Cowboys! Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
The Cowboys Hour is also supported by Luke Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Our guest tonight is Cowboys defensive tackle number 97, Osa Odighizuwa. We are at Cane Rosso at the Star in Frisco. Thank you to all the Cowboy fans who have come out tonight. I'm Cowboys Radio sideline reporter Christy Scales alongside Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com, stepping in for Brad Sham this evening. And Kyle, let's see, we have an official update on Osa's career sack numbers. He said 11.
Yes.
We said 9.
Said 9.
Who's right?
I think Osa is right based off of adding in the playoff sacks.
There you
go.
go.
I was looking at just the regular season.
That's right.
He has 9 sacks, but Osa says, I count the playoff sacks, which I agree with.
I think they should count triple. They should count triple in the playoffs.
I was going to say, that's when it matters the most, those stats. So the fact that they don't count those is kind of bizarre.
See, but that's an NFL problem. So we need to write a letter. We need to just go ahead and draft it. We got how many people?
We've got enough for a petition tonight here at Cane Rosso.
Make something happen. But yes, so 11 sacks total if you count the playoffs, which is impressive because you played in 3 playoff games, have those multiple sacks. I mean, you've always shown up when it matters most. You also showed up to Dallas Fashion Week, though. And I want to talk about that a little bit because you have been a leader in the clubhouse, a leader in the locker room in terms of what you wear going into the pregame locker room and just the overall fits that you have. Which one has been your favorite throughout your career, if you had a favorite fit, and where did your inspiration for fashion come from?
I mean, my older brother kind of was the one that got me into it a little bit, and then just being in a place like LA where like fashion is kind of a bigger thing.
Kind of had no choice, right?
Nah, I mean,
Being at
it's just something that I
UCLA.
enjoy, and it's like it's just a way to express yourself and be creative too. So like, it's just something that I enjoy doing, just dressing myself and just wearing clothes that I like. Probably the favorite that I've worn to a game was my week 1 this year. Actually, my mom made that one.
Oh,
so, yeah. it was
And just
actually-
describe what it looked like
So-
to everyone.
It was like kind of a traditional, more of a traditional Nigerian like top that she had made, kind of like in a more traditional style that she had made it, and then like some cargo pants to go with it. It was very comfortable, and I liked it a lot. It fit great. She took my measurements and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she's been like trying to like build up, getting orders and stuff, and kind of doing it professionally. And I felt like, I mean, she had been doing like baby stuff for like a minute, just like making baby clothes. So I feel like the best way to like kind of just promote her skills and display her skill set and just like how talented she is just to have her make me an outfit that I could wear
Yeah.
to
And
a game.
as a mom to 4 boys, did she make clothes a lot when you guys were little, or
It was
working
just like-
hard, she might not have had time to do that?
It was just like scarves and hats and stuff like that when I was in middle school.
Well, you mentioned you're an LA guy, maybe get some of your fashion from there, and I think most Cowboy fans know that you went to UCLA, but not originally from that area, originally from Ohio,
Oregon.
right, and then go to Portland.
Yep.
And so did you decide to go to UCLA because your older brother had played there?
I mean, that was definitely part of it. Like his freshman year at UCLA was like my first year playing football ever. So that was like I grew up just watching him at UCLA. They were putting guys out into the NFL. I ended up playing with Anthony Barr last year, who was on that team that he was on at UCLA too. And that was part of the reason, just like the amount of guys that they were putting out into the NFL at the time, and they were doing really well.
Including your brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, including my brother. He played for the Giants for 2 years. And injuries kind of played a factor in cutting his career short. But, you know, I could look at what they were doing at UCLA and realize that they're developing and pumping guys out. And if I want to go to the NFL, that'd be a great place to go.
But it's so interesting because your brother, I guess it was 6 years before you. He was draft class of 2015, is that right? 3rd round pick to the Giants, number 74
Yeah.
overall. 6 years later, 3rd round pick to the Cowboys at number 75. So seeing that experience and what he went through with the draft process and being a professional athlete, how much did he try to guide and help you, and what lessons did you learn from him?
A lot. I mean, just the way I approach the game, a lot of that comes back to just what my brothers told me and just the advice that he's given me, you know what I mean, and just emphasizing just the value of health and making sure you're taking care of your body. Growing up, he was like most athletic person that I knew, you know what I mean, just in terms of like numbers, what he could do in the weight room, how fast he could run on the field, you know, body fat, just like dude was the pinnacle of athleticism in my eyes. I'm like, dude's a freak athlete, and having his career cut short like that due to injuries kind of like really drove it home in terms of me knowing that the best ability is availability. You know what I mean? Like if you can't show any of the athleticism that you have and you don't get the opportunity to do that if you're not on the field. You know what I mean? So just taking care of my body and constantly just looking for different ways to recover and just making sure that I'm always healthy as much as I can.
I'd love for you to share more about that. Our guest last week was Terrence Steele, and so he had spent 2 hours earlier that afternoon getting a massage. And so I think that fans, they know that you guys have meetings during the day. They know that you're on the practice field. but I don't think they truly understand all of the extra things that you guys go through during the week to have your bodies ready. So what are some of the extra things that you do?
I mean, a lot of ice tub, cryotherapy. If I don't have time to get in the ice tub for 10 minutes, then I'll go do cryo somewhere. Actually, by somewhere I mean right here.
Right here at the start. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Cowboys fit literally across the road here from Cane Rosso.
Yeah.
What's that like, getting in that big old ice box?
It's cold, but it's quick. It's only 3.5 minutes, so it's faster than the ice tub. I like the ice tub more, just because I feel like it's more of like a deeper cooling effect. But you know, a lot of cryo, cold tub, you know, laser therapy, getting some shockwave therapy. You get a couple massages a week. I'm actually getting one after. I leave
Are you
here,
really?
yeah.
Really?
Yoga, making sure I'm stretching and just rolling out before practice, body tempering, needling,
Yeah.
anything that I
It's a
can
long
do.
list.
Yeah, like if there's a different modality that I could use, or just you know, just someone that I could rely on to just help me recover and stay healthy, then I'm gonna do that.
How much do you still rely on some of the advice from your brother to this day, and the way that you guys talk back and forth? I'm sure you probably talk all the time, but how much does he still give you advice, even though you're in year 3 of your career?
You know, he's just kind of there, always making sure, like asking how I'm feeling, you know, just asking what I'm doing, if I have a plan for the off season, just kind of checking in with me, because at this point, like we've been chopping it up for so long, and just talking about these things that, like, at this point, it's kind of on me now. You know what I mean? But he's definitely someone that I lean on for advice. We can look at game film together, and always just talk and go back and forth about the technique, and just kind of you know, and just kind of watch and just see what we can learn and correct. You know what I mean?
Are there some aspects of your game that when you go back and you watch it on film, you see a little bit of your brother in there and what he used to do? I know he was off of the edge the majority of the time, but do you still take some of that and apply it to your game?
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to get good use of the hands always, just making sure that's something that I'm doing. Just use my hands, pad level, explosiveness off the ball.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about all the things that you do to keep your body rejuvenated and ready to go. Is the physical part the hardest part through what's now a 17-game regular season, or is it the mental grind and just, you know, rinse and repeat every week, and just, I mean, just from a media standpoint, it's like, oh my gosh, we're ready for a break. And so how do you handle that part of it? Is the mental grind as difficult as the physical grind?
I mean, I would say it's both. You know, if you're not on top of either, it can kind of get away from you really quickly, just with the way these weeks turn around and the way they turn over so quick. You know, it's already Monday, it's going to be Tuesday, and before you know it, we'll be practicing on Wednesday, Thursday, game day. You know, like, it goes by that quick. So if you're not on top of your recovery, just making sure that you take some time. We get Tuesdays off, and just taking some time to decompress and making sure that your mental and your physical is solid, then it can kind of get overwhelming very quickly.
How do you stay sharp mentally through an entire season? You talked about the way that you do it and the long list of stuff from a physical standpoint, or is there anything that you do from a mental standpoint?
I mean, just finding ways to take your mind off of it sometimes, like whether it be just going home and watching some TV, hopping on the game for a little bit, or just, you know, doing yoga and just finding a place where I can just kind of relax, making sure I'm getting good sleep.
Hopping on Cowboys Hour, going to Cane Rosso. I mean, there's a couple different things. Yeah.
You know, you get out of the house, just go do something that doesn't have anything to do with the game sometimes, just to let your mind relax and reset.
What are some of the hobbies that you have off of the field that you go to? You talked about the game. You talked about fashion.
I mean, I do like to travel. I don't do like a ton of it in the off season. Planning to take some more trips this year, but I feel like that's something that's cool, just going out and seeing different places, just changing the scenery up a little bit. Big anime guy, so I like to watch anime.
Yeah. What's the favorite place you've visited?
Went to Panama.
Ooh, that's cool. Did you do the canal or just
Yeah, I got
cruise
to,
the Panama Canal?
Yeah, it was dope.
Wow, that's okay. And then what's on the bucket list?
Haven't been to Europe yet.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I want to go to Europe. Haven't been to Canada or Mexico, which is crazy. It's kind of like a layup. They're right there.
You were in Oregon. That's not too far, right?
Yeah,
just going straight
that's
up
what I'm saying. It's kind of
Vancouver.
crazy that I haven't been to either yet.
You're in Texas right now. It doesn't take too long to get down there.
Yeah.
That's a longer drive than I
We're,
think
we're,
Oregon.
we're ready for another international game, so
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
we can take care of
That
that.
makes
Hopefully
sense.
as soon as next season.
Yeah,
I
let's
would
knock
love
that
to
out.
go to London.
Ooh, okay. Well, there you go. NFL, that's the second thing that Osa Odighizuwa has for you. You got the sack total, and then you got the NFL international games as well. So plenty more to come from Osa Odighizuwa and the Cowboys Hour presented by Miller Lite. We will be back from Cane Rosso at the Star in Frisco right after this.
Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys!
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour is also supported by Papa John's. It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. The Cowboys Special from the Cowboys and Papa John's. A large one-topping pizza for only $9.99, so order today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
Pizza is a common theme because we are live from Cane Rosso at the Star in Frisco with Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa and a fantastic crowd full of Cowboys fans. Of course, in attendance here at the Star alongside Christy Scales, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We would also like to say hello to our listeners across the Dallas Cowboys radio network and, of course, on DallasCowboys.com, including two of those who happen to be listening on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star and Double T 97.3 out in West Texas in Lubbock. So, Osa, you're listened to, of course, across the Lone Star State. You get to be watched worldwide. This week, you get to be watched against the New England Patriots. They come to AT&T Stadium. Have you thought about the opportunity yet to tackle Ezekiel Elliott outside of a practice form? Because you get a chance this week if he gets the chance to tote the rock a couple times.
Yeah, I was actually, it's crazy because I was just looking at his Instagram and like something from the game. I was like, damn, we actually play him next week. That's crazy.
So it is on the radar a little bit,
Like
right?
it literally just dawned on me today. I was like, oh wow, we played Zeke this week.
Did you ever actually really get to tackle him like in training camp or mini camp? Because that's kind of like Dak. It was always like hands off, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just part of protecting your guys too. Like, want to make sure everyone makes it to the season through camp and then through the season healthy, you know, because we need everyone when it comes to Sunday. So just got to make sure we're smart in that regard.
And I kind of want to add more on Ezekiel Elliott in a couple moments. We are going to take some fan questions, by the way, in the audience. If you have a question, walk up here to the front, and we will have those questions for Osa Odighizuwa momentarily. But Mike McCarthy talked about it today. Ezekiel Elliott was known as the ultimate teammate, still is to this day now in New England. But did you guys ever have any interactions early in your career that you can really point back to and say he was one of those guys that you could rely on?
Yeah, I mean, like we went to get food before, and like he let me come to his house and whatnot. It's just cool that like I was dope. Just experiences, you know. He's a really cool dude. Just opening up his home like that, just whenever, you know what I mean? Just on a random Monday after a game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Now, we do have a question, so go ahead and say your name and then go ahead and state the question to Osa.
Okay.
We got a microphone for you right there. There you go.
Good evening, Osa. My name is Rambo.
What's up?
Rambo.
So Cowboy Nation was expecting the Cowboys to steamroll Arizona yesterday. Obviously, you guys hit a bump in the road. What's your message to the fan base for next week's game?
I mean, just stay down. We coming back.
Simple enough. I like it. Very nicely done.
Yes, my name is Tony. The great Bob Lilly used to say he used to sit in meetings and he would tap his eye to teach himself not to blink during contact. Do y'all have any kind of tricks that y'all try to use to your advantage?
No. That's actually funny that you said that. One of my college coaches used to do that. He'll just like walk up to you and like tap you on the forehead, and you just got to get used to it.
What, just to see if you were paying attention, or
No,
just
to see if you would blink like on contact.
Okay. Do you have any, let's see, superstitions or just things that you do as part of your normal course of preparation on game day, or particularly like in the locker room or in pregame warmups?
I wouldn't say superstitions or anything like that, but I have a routine. It's pretty long that I go through before every game.
Like a routine, you mean like stretching out or the timing, or more like a mental routine, like a checklist?
I mean, I'm mentally checking off like those different things, like getting a little bit of treatment, getting tempered, doing a little hot tub, making sure I get taped at the right time, you know, all that stuff, making sure I get a gallon in before the game, just
A gallon in? Do you have a physical plastic gallon that you bring to the game?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things, like, if you look at all the pictures that I posted, because I did, like, an arrival dump at the end of the season,
Yeah.
like, in damn near, like, every one of those pictures, like, you would see me holding a jug with a different color liquid in it, and it's nothing crazy. It's just, like, some Pedialyte and some other electrolytes that I'll add to it.
Oh, so it's not even just a gallon. It's like a gallon plus, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not. You're just not drinking regular water there.
No, it's electrolytes.
Should you color code it for the opponent, you know?
No, I mean, definitely not. I like to just make sure the flavors all match up. Like if have like a strawberry Pedialyte or something like that, then I'll put like a lemon drip drop in there just to make sure it all tastes good. You know what I mean?
You're so calculated. That's the one thing I love about you is the fact that it's the fashion, it's the hydration, and then you can see it translate onto the field too. Because you're calculated with what you're doing, but you're also just a menace at that same point. It's really fun to watch, and I love the background of it there. Now, going up against the Patriots outside of Ezekiel Elliott, how are they going to really challenge you guys here in Week 4?
I have not got into the tape yet.
You haven't turned the page yet.
No,
I respect
not yet.
it.
So I'm not really able to answer that question just yet.
One final thing for you, because with your last name of Nigerian descent, how many different ways have you heard your last name pronounced?
About 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Got any favorites? And what is
right way.
what is the real pronunciation? How should we be saying it? Because we may be messing it up for all these
Odighizuwa.
years. Yeah, and so what are some of the ways that people have mangled it?
I mean, I don't really keep track, to be honest. I'm like,
Well,
they butchered it again.
We just,
know.
well, Coach Fossil, Cowboys special teams coordinator John Fossil, he is just before coming over here to Cane Rosso for the Cowboys Hour tonight. I said, you got any good things that I can ask Osa about? He says, well, my 4-year-old daughter, I get her on video, and I try to get her to pronounce Osa's name correctly. So I think she got it right.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. He did a good job of getting them to practice, and they got it down pretty quickly, I feel like. Now people got to deal with Noah and his last name.
Can you do it?
Can you do it?
Monogamy?
Igbenogany, yeah.
Yeah.
Noah Igbenogany, that's very good.
We're just going with Iggy.
Yeah.
If that's all right with you, because that's a hard one.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, y'all got to ask him.
Yeah, because you've got Noah Igbenogany in the second level. You've got Izzy Mukwamu, so you've got Israel Mukwamu, so you got Izzy and Iggy. If they're both there and ready to go, you're going to have to try and play back and
Yeah,
forth
we
with
usually
it.
get more Scrabble points off the names than
They make
the opponents
back-to-back
have.
plays. Good luck.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, back to back. Can't mess that one up. But yeah, Osa, it's been so much fun getting to chop it up with you. I mean, looking forward to see what you do the rest of the season. And thank you. I'm just going to throw my pen across the way there. I really appreciate you taking some time and getting to chop it up with us.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much. Thank you so much. Good luck against New England. And thank you to all of you who came out tonight to Cane Rosso. Appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you guys for having me.
So again, the Cowboys and the Patriots coming up this week. It's a 3:25 kick at AT&T Stadium. So plenty more to come from Osa Odighizuwa. He's going to have 11 sacks in the regular season by the end of this. Let's put in a call.
There you go.
It's going to definitely happen.
Manifest
What are you
it.
most looking forward to this week?
As far as the game,
Yeah, just getting back into it.
I love playing at home. That's honestly my favorite place to play is at AT&T. Getting the crowd into it, being there for Cowboys Nation.
Yeah. For Christy Scales, for Osa Odighizuwa, for Cane Rosso, and our incredible crowd tonight of Cowboys Nation, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long for the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We will see you next week at Sidecar Social.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?